Well, welcome, viewers and listeners. I'm coming to you with a special program this week, this month, because I am here with Michael Clark, who's going to be in Alberta very shortly. I'm going to give him a proper introduction, but I want to say, Michael, thank you for taking the time to share with us and the viewers and listeners, and especially those living in Alberta, about the opportunity to share and interact in the political life of Alberta in the upcoming municipal election. So, Michael, welcome to our chance to share this with our viewers and listeners. Yeah.
Thanks for having
So,
me, Rod. I think we've been meaning to get on a show together for a couple of years. So I'm thankful that we found the time to get this done today.
yeah, this is not an official CHP Talks broadcast or podcast, but it came up. I'm in an undisclosed location in Alberta with my wife. We're visiting some friends over the next few days in Alberta and became aware of Michael coming to Alberta at the same time. You try to take a little couple days break from politics, and then they call the by-election in Battleford. Uh, Crowfoot, and then Michael is coming to help Albertans prepare for their election this fall. So let me tell folks about Michael. He is known by many as Canada's political missionary. He is the executive director of the Christian Impact Network, the CIN, and you can find that website at christianimpactnetwork.com. One of CIN's key initiatives is Christians That Care, CTC, focused specifically on helping Christians run in municipal elections. And of course, Alberta municipal elections are coming this fall, and that'll be municipal councils, school boards, and so on. Michael's goal is to help Christians get elected and to adjust the laws of the country to biblical principles. That fits pretty concisely with what our goals are as a Christian Heritage Party. And he sees his work as if it were the Christian Heritage Party's municipal division. So that's pretty significant. I've known Michael for a couple of years. We've been at a few events together. I've been a guest in his home, and I'm really pleased that we're going to meet again in Alberta. It wasn't on my agenda when we headed out to the blue skies of Alberta for a little bit of rest, relaxation, and getting together with friends, but now it is part of what's happening over the next week or two for me. Michael helped mobilize 110 Christian candidates in Ontario's 2022 municipal election. He's currently leading the Alberta Christian Municipal Rally, ACMR, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. That is a 12-city summer tour to inspire and support Christian candidates for mayor, council, and school boards across the province. He holds an Executive Master of Business Administration and the Project Management Professional designation. That's a PMP. He lives in Barrie, Ontario with his family. And again, the website, we'll probably be sharing this again during this short broadcast, but christianimpactnetwork.com. So, Michael, welcome to our interview and a chance to share this information with our members and all those who listen to us in Alberta. So, when did you get the idea to do this Alberta tour?
Well, I'll bring you back to kind of the first domino that fell. I was, I had seen Christian Heritage Party for years growing up, and that was, probably in my mind, the thought that Christians can be involved in politics, and to see the work you guys were doing. I was, I kind of started out as Roman Baber's, the MPP Roman Baber, who's now MP Roman Baber, general manager. We were organizing industries, a couple of years into the lockdowns, just to look for a different path to challenge the government, and he was very measured and had a great approach. And I was helping him organize different industries against lockdowns, police, fire, restaurants, school boards, doctors, lawyers, all these groups. And one day it just hit me. I was like, what if we ever did that? What if Christians ever organized politically like this? Shouldn't we be at the table? Can't we? We're a big people group. Don't we get to have a say in how the laws, how we govern mankind in our country? It doesn't feel like we do right now.
Yeah.
So I just thought, Lord, is there a way I could, do this as a job? And then I saw the municipal election coming up in Ontario. This was 2022, and I thought, Lord, can I help? Why don't I try? Like, what if every Christian in the country just tried this year to do something, for the Lord, and instead of just whining about everything in the newspaper you don't like, why don't you stop being a Christian couch potato and do something about it? So that was what was going on in my mind. So I threw up a website, and I really was inspired by Christian Heritage Party. I knew what you guys are doing federally. I started to pay attention more, and I thought, well, there's no municipal parties in Ontario. There's federal and provincial. There's no municipal. Why don't I said it 1,000 times to people. I want to make a CHP version of a municipal party. It's not a real established party, but it's like a fellowship. So yeah, it was the municipal election 2022 where 110 Christian mayors, councilors, and school board trustees signed up, and it was amazing. And we partnered with Leadership Institute in Washington, D.C. to give them the political science training. We had a conference, which you spoke at back in August 2022. We had weekly Zoom calls for training. And one of the best parts that came out of it was camaraderie. So I'm sure CHP candidates and their members, you guys love getting together for conventions and chats and stuff. Well, think of a Christian soccer mom in the rural area. There is no party. They feel alone, and they tell me even the ones that get elected, they might be outnumbered 6-1 or 8-1 on the board or the city council. So I just felt it was important to bring camaraderie and bring them all together. So of that group, 17 of them got elected, and it was wonderful. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll keep doing this. Can I do this as a full-time job? I'll be Canada's political missionary. So now getting back to your question of like, what's this got to do with Alberta? So as this has been growing, my goal now is to operate behind every election in the country to recruit Christians, to train them, and hopefully get them elected and supported. So I saw the Alberta election coming up. So I created the Alberta Christian Municipal Rally. And yeah, it'll be held in 12 cities. And, the goal is to collect the Christians that are running municipally, to encourage, I like to call it the Christian couch potato, because that was me, at one point I was a Christian couch potato, to get up and get involved. And even if you don't want to run, well, why don't you support the Christian that is sticking their neck out and wants to make a difference in the country, So I bet you guys would love, tens of thousands more Christians across the country supporting you. So yeah, that was really the beginning points and how it got to this 12 city tour that starts this Saturday.
Well, great. And you're starting in Westlock, right?
Yeah, Saturday, July 5th in Westlock. All the details are all on the website, but that's the first event.
Wonderful. Well, if Christians would have stayed involved, if they would have stayed involved decades ago and, had their place at the table and shared the things that they were concerned about, and if they had spoken up when, some of this things started coming into the school, the education curriculum and so on, not only in Alberta, but across the country. And if we Christians had maintained our public profile and spoken out when things went kaflooey, we wouldn't be in the state we are today. And we believe that, of course, as a political party, that while the federal, provincial, and municipal councils and school boards, education system fails to acknowledge God, fails to respect the supremacy of God and the rule of law, fails to protect innocent human life, fails to protect the sanctity of marriage, and fails to even protect the basic concept of staying out of debt. All these things on a municipal, federal, and provincial level. We wouldn't be in the trouble we're in today and all the chaos. And of course, right now going on in Alberta, there's a lot of discussion about even separation from Canada. And that is a discussion that politicians in Ottawa better listen to, better pay attention to. And it's there for a reason. And it's so many Canadians feel disenfranchised. Yes, they can go and vote, but often they don't feel like their vote is accomplishing anything. And even when they elect somebody, they're not sure that they're going to get the kind of representation that they deserve. Here is the opportunity at the municipal level, at the local level, and at the school board level, which is so tremendously important for the next generation. Here's the opportunity for God-fearing men and women to step forward and take their places at the city gates and to declare in this city, in this school, in this municipality, we're going to have biblical legislation, biblical regulations. We're going to follow God's direction, and then we're going to see the glory of God and the blessing of God on our municipality, on our ultimately on our province and on our nation. So, wonderful.
Yeah, and if Christians did get involved more, I think we could make a big difference. I was talking with most of your viewers probably they know Beatine. She's a popular
Yeah,
online
18
personality.
recession. Yeah,
She yeah, she told me, I'm just grabbing a pen here. She told me yesterday when she ran provincially, I think it was approximately 330 votes or something, was the difference. And Rada, when I do I take out my Christian calculator and do some quick math. It's like, okay, we complain about the things we don't like in the newspaper. Maybe it's, drag queens in libraries or something,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, well, we, how, if you don't like that, what did you do to help stop that?
right.
Like, did you try to support the Christian running federally, provincially, or municipally? Well,
Yeah,
no. And then I look at, 330 people. That's like one church in a lot of cities. One church could have got her in.
yeah,
And in Ontario, the municipal turnout was only 20% approximately, if my memory is right. So, I mean, can you imagine if every church, every Christian in the country, like LeBron James says, put the team on their back and lead them through the playoffs? Imagine every Christian that took that burden to say, no, it's my turn on the earth. I'm going to put Canada and my province and my city. It's up to me to make a difference. I think you and I would both be, very happy with the outcomes.
yeah. Well, the biblical injunction that I am my brother's keeper, and love your neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor's children are also your neighbors, and if you're not protecting their minds by ensuring that the local school system has, godly literature and curriculum, as opposed to some of the radical gender confusion that's being promoted on kids today, then when things go kaflooey and when your neighbor's kids turn out, confused, troubled, and maybe running counter to biblical values, maybe some of that responsibility rests on you. And it's easy to we get caught up in our own family life and our own things that we're involved in, but we have a responsibility for our neighbors and our neighbors' children. Public education system. If people are homeschooling or whatever, I mean, we don't interfere with what people are doing in the privacy of their homes. But when we're paying taxes that are supporting a school system that is giving kids misinformation and guiding them into things that are going to be trouble for their lives. We have a responsibility to step in and speak up about that. And yeah, very good. Are you able to share that website there?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll share my screen so people can see what I'm showing. So this is the website, christianimpactnetwork.com. So the event we're talking about today is the Alberta Christian Municipal Rally. There's the master poster for the whole province. So if I just zoom in, the purpose of it is to the election's October 20th in Alberta. We want people to come to this rally and seek the Lord for the future of Alberta. I think Christian politicians in a tricky spot, right? In a democracy, it's like, oh, I please the people. What do the polls say? Well, the polls, the, in the Bible, the polls wanted Saul. Give us Saul, give us Saul. And the Christian politician has a tension because, well, am I honoring the Lord? Am I representing the Lord's interest or what the people want? So certainly I don't have all the answers, but it is a conundrum. And at least step one is let's get together and seek the Lord, and let's turn to Him. And so that's what the purpose of the rally. And we're going to be praying for the candidates that are going to come forward. They'll all have a chance to speak. And in case I forget, I'll mention there's about 6 CHP candidates in Alberta coming to the events and speaking in person. I know you're trying to make it out to a couple, and I'll just give a shout out to your CHP candidate in Red Deer, Brandon. I think is it Pingle? Brandon Pingle?
Pringle.
Yeah. He's done a great job just calling all the CHP candidates, inviting them to come out and share because you guys are probably doing it the best. You're representing God's interests very well. So yeah, we want to introduce, all the Christians in the communities to who are the Christian candidates running in their areas and just make that connection. So hopefully they will have amazing support. I was talking to one city councilor, a 4-time elected councilor in Ontario, and he said, I'd love to do more brave Christian things, but I don't really even get much support from churches.
Yeah.
So I feel like there needs to be a connection. And many of the Christian candidates, you'd think, Rod, that churches across the country would roll out a red carpet for the CHP candidates or for the other Christian candidates, but they seem to just not be interested in engaging, which is a strange thing to me. So I hope through all your work and our work, we can kind of bring them together, because I think if we did, we'd be at the table and could help with the laws. So yeah, this is the website. There's 12 cities. I'll zoom in so they can see it clearly, but you can see on the website there.
Yeah.
And we're still talking to more churches about adding more city stops. I told people I only book one-way trips on a mission, because if God opens up more doors, then I'll just keep on going to the next stop.
Right.
So if someone's listening, and yeah.
So you have a button there, event page and registration. So if people click on that, they get more information about your speakers and a candidate application, a volunteer application, and
Yeah, the candidate application is about, so if there is a Christian candidate running in the province and they want to be in our fellowship, they fill that out, and then they can speak at the events. They can join the provincial group, the national group, and if someone wants to volunteer there. And then
so part of what you're doing, maybe the main part is you are looking to stir up Christians who have never been a candidate before in anything, and who may not know that they have a God-given talent to come out and represent a biblical worldview in a secular situation, especially municipal politics. And this is their opportunity to come out and hear what's involved in becoming a candidate, how they can go through the process and have their name on the ballot and represent godly values in the municipal elections this fall. What do you know the date of those elections, by the way?
October 20th.
October 20th, 2025. And there's the poster for the first rally in Westlock, Alberta on Saturday.
Yeah, we have on this site, we have every, city poster, which tells you where's the event, what time is it at, etc., that people can download or share.
Westlock, Red Deer, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Calgary, Edmonton, Alder Flats, Alberta, Drayton Valley, and more
Lloydminster's
coming
posters
soon.
coming.
So is there a fee for registration?
No, our program's free for the candidates. It's free for the registration for the attendees. It's kind of a worship prayer service where, it's for everyone that wants to come, and there is no cost.
You, I presume, will be accepting contributions for those that want to help you in what you're doing. Okay, you got Ponoka also coming up, a second Alberta or Edmonton rally, and more details coming for Sherwood Park, Grand Prairie.
And then, Lord willing, I'll throw it there before I forget. I'm also intending on doing this in Newfoundland and Labrador. They're having a municipal election this fall also. So when I'm done in Alberta, I'm gonna head there. And then New Brunswick, there'll be a rally for their 2026. And then Ontario and BC next year. So that's, the plan.
Michael, God bless you. And so let's go back to full screen here for a minute. And is there anything else that people need to know? First of all, they can visit your website, christianimpactnetwork.com, and find out all the details. They can register there for any of these events. You want to quickly say some of the speakers. I guess all the speakers aren't going to be at all the events, but you have some pretty special speakers lined up for some of the events.
So you're coming, so that there's our our anchor key keynote speaker. There's some other interesting Christian leaders coming. For example, former MP Stockwell Day will be coming to some in person, and all of them over Zoom. There's some other MPs, like Arnold Vierston will be at the first one, and
Wonderful.
I won't mention the other ones, but there's other Christian MPs coming. There's about 6 Christian MLAs that are in Alberta that are elected right now that are speaking at different events, and that number's growing. There's guys like John Hilton O'Brien is coming to over half the stops in person. Cam Wilson from Wilberforce Project, and one of the ladies from, I think it's called AHIA, the Alberta Homeschooling Association, and I'm probably missing other ones, but a lot of key leaders. Fatine will be coming in through Zoom.
Okay.
And so, there's a large interest in this.
Tremendous. Well, Michael Clark, thank you so much for coming to doing this interview with us so that we can share this information out with our friends and members in Alberta, and hopefully it'll get to a lot of people that we don't know yet who are interested in seeing godly principles and values manifested in Alberta municipal politics and in school situations, the education department particularly. And thank you for devoting so much of your time and energy in the last few years. I'll tell people this guy, Michael, is like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps on going, and he's takes on big projects and he sees them through. And I know you're going to do a good job seeing this one through in Alberta. And I think Albertans will thank you for carving out the time and energy for this project.
And thank you for for the work that you and the whole Christian Heritage Party has done, because you guys have pioneered. You guys are like the icebreaker ship, making a path, and you've shown the model, of how to be. It is possible to be, lead with Christ first and Christ centered a political movement, and I'm very inspired by what you guys do and follow. So, thank you.
Well, God bless you. Mutual support, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday night in Westlock. I'm planning to adjust my travel schedule so that I can be there. I'm not sure, possibly Red Deer, but we'll plan to see you in Westlock in person, along with some of the other notables that you've mentioned. And God bless you. May God pour out His blessing on this project of yours, and may Alberta have a revival in the political realm this fall. God bless you.
Thank you, Rod.